डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Namaste. I, Dr. Janma Vasavda from English Department of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University, welcome you all in the series of drama. We have covered by now the origin and development of the form, types of drama, variations like comedy, tragedy, historical plays, mystery plays, morality plays, and so on. We have also seen in previous lectures how drama evolved according to different ages. Now we are going to complete today the theatre of absurd, and we will be focusing further on Elizabethan drama, and then we will go ahead with further proceedings of life and works of Shakespeare. So let's begin. Absurd theatre. Theatre of absurd is actually a style of theatre that uses bizarre or weird or fantastic means to depict the absurdity of human existence. It actually developed somewhere around 1950s. Okay, and the event actually was there, influenced after the 1940s events. What was the 1940s events? The World Wars, right? Critic Martin Asselin wrote an essay actually about it. And this critic distinguished this term, and that is how the movement was named or born. It is very much near to existentialism. What is existentialism? It's a question where you are asking about your own existence. What is the purpose of life? Why are you existing even? And why the correlation with existentialism is that theatre of absurd and existentialism both are quite hand in hand, similar to each other. And why? Because Martin Asselin, who first coined this entire movement and everything, he was very much influenced by Albert Camus, right? So this is the correlation between two ideologies, and that is why one has influenced the other. World wars have shaped up mentality in a way that people were questioning themselves, their existence. Some theorists of or critics of existentialism also said that you are thrown into existence without your own permission. You even do not have that much in your control. So why do you exist like that? Same sort of philosophy of life where you are quite pessimist about life, the disappointment of life that was prominent there at the time of World War. And that was then reflected after a decade. So World War and the events associated with happened somewhere around 1940s. And then this theatrical experimentation came into existence. And in 1950s, this one was named as Theatre of Absurd. I hope I am making this quite clear. It emerged in Europe in the 1950s and is characterized by its chaotic plots, illogical dialogues, which does not make any sense, questioning of existence. What was the purpose behind writing this? The purpose of theatre of the absurd is to shock the audience and to force them to confront the harsh realities of human existence. When you do not know whether your existence is for what and why something is happening, so it technically does not make any sense. In giving brief introduction about the theater of absurd in prior class also I have said the same thing, that the dramatists wanted in audience to, or their audience to understand in that way that why it is happening they do not know, how there is no rational connection between they keep on forgetting the dialogues, they talk about illogical stuff, and they do not have any relevance in their talking, they do not have any logical connection in between, and yet the characters are there, keep on suffering, the suffering is endless there. So the purpose of this theater was to shock the audience and to understand, to make the other understand the harsh realities of human life, right? It aims to provide ethical and political food for thought. Now, when people from different region, they are working, they are writing, so everywhere the existential crises were persisting. They had no meaning. There were yet chaotic surrounding afterwards. And so it was reflected in theatre too. Language as an absurdist play is often dislocated, where you do not know why any dialogue comes up like this. Full of cliches, puns, repetitions, and it does not have any sequence. As I already mentioned, that it is not meant for rational thinking and logical understanding. If one dialogue is there, then the next one will not be logically connected with it. It will be full of ambiguities, right? So you'll have to understand that it was intended. It is not that it has happened something outrightly, or while going ahead it just accidentally happened. No, it was to ridicule. It was to just make an audience understand what baseless life that they are living for, right? So the ridiculous, purposeless behavior and the talk gives plays at times dazzling comic surface, but there is underlying serious tone of metaphysical distress always. Seemingly there are some actions that make you feel that it is comical or funny in some ways, but if you look at the higher side of it, underlying meaning of it, or if you read between the lines, you will see that there are a lot of metaphysical connotations. The distress of human life that is unsettled, they are derooted, they do not have any idea whether the idea that you are showcasing is going to come on floor or not, right? So originally shocking in its flaunting of theatrical convention, while popular for its apt expression of preoccupations of the mid 20th century. It is naturally to be understood that it was popular because it was some experiment and it was not conventional. The theater of the absurd declined somewhat by the mid 1960s. Some of its innovations had been absorbed in the mainstream of theater, even while serving into inspire further experiments. There were a lot of dramatists who were inspired by this theater, but you'll have to understand that if something does not make sense, if something that does not have logic, if something that does not have rational connection to audience, such drama form or such idea will not be able to sustain for a longer period of time. And that is why it had its own decline somewhere. What are the characteristics of it? Nonsensical plots. It does not have any logical correlation or cyclic beginning, like it will begin, it will have its own story, and it will end. No, it can be erupting from anywhere and it can end anywhere without any logical explanation or without any systematic idea. Like in plays, generally we have that opening of the scene, then we will proceed further towards the plot, and the story will rise, rising action, falling action, and this we have seen this entire thing. So they do not have this logical plot or a cyclic pattern. They end wherever and they begin wherever they like, right? So it's unconventional narrative style that often rejects conventional narrative structure. Instead, they are using chaotic plots. In certain plots, you'll see that it is quite chaotic. You do not have that happy tonation. Questioning of existence, I already mentioned this, that these plays often question the very existence and meaning of human life. They will constantly have this, that why do we exist? Why are we here? For what purpose we are living for? And after all these chaotic ideas, what are we living for? Right? So that's the question of existence. They do not have motive behind living or doing anything. While I say that, which means that, again, I'm quoting the same example, waiting for the Godot. Waiting for the Godot, they are endlessly waiting for someone who resembles like they do not know. They have no idea how a person looks like, what kind of theory, I mean, they do not have any idea that why are they waiting, why do they want to meet. But they all they know is they want to meet Godot. They are waiting for one day, another day, the next day. And the wait is prolonged. There is no system in it, right? So, ill-defined time and space. These plays often have absence of time and space, the unity of time and space. Uncharacteristic relations are there. Characters may or may not react to events with uncharacteristic levity or gravity. Generally, we think that the situation is quite dire and a character will be acting out only accordingly. That does not happen like that. So at times they do not understand the seriousness and then they just keep on going. If Vladimir says something, an Estragon will be like, okay, whatever you say goes. So there is no application of their brain at times. It shows seemingly through dialogues or characters that they do not have the use of brain while we are portraying them or while we are reading them. But if you read their underlying messages, it will be very deep. So it is not only for the sake of entertainment, right? A point that Estienne was influenced at a point by Camus, Albert Camus, I already said. Now, the sense of missing self or the sense of existential crisis will be seen in almost every character, right? So that's your characteristic of these. Now, Bald Soprano by Eugene Ionesco, Waiting for Godot, Dictator. These are very famous idea. These are very much famous examples of theatre of absurd. Though no formal absurdist movement existed prior while they were writing, but these are the list of people who have also wrought in this manner. Humankind in this view is left feeling hopeless, bewildered and anxious always. They do not have the settlement. They do not have the idea of settling down somewhere. And that is why the loss of sense, the loss of time, the loss of logic is seen everywhere, right? Now, we will be going ahead with a brief history of English drama and Elizabethan period along with life and works of Shakespeare in next class. Till then, take care, happy learning.
स्वाध्यायः परः